There's another Friday the 13th lawsuit. How's it going, guys? As always, my name is Jimmy Champane, and this is the channel where it's always Halloween. Basically, if you like monsters, slashers, pretty much any horror movie released in the 1980s or inspired by it, this is the channel for you. Today's video is all about opening old wounds and being really sad because, yeah, we're talking about Friday the 13th. But before we get too deep into it, I have a quick message from my friend Onyx the Fortuitous.
I'm just kidding. It's me, Onyx the Fortuitous. I don't know, Slayer of the Bright Realm. Y'all may know me as the Weird Satanist guy, or the Weird Arby's guy, or you may know me as this generation's F. Murray Abraham. But I'm here to tell you about a new film I'm making. It's called Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls. It's a feature horror comedy in the tradition of Fright Night, Gremlins, and Ghostbusters. It's about me getting invited to a big scary mansion owned by my satanic senpai Bartok the Great. But once I get there, the proverbial SHIT hits the fan and I'm confronted by demons, monsters, and ghouls, oh my. So if you want to help this movie get made, then go to onyxthemovie.com and consider backing our Kickstarter today so I can get out of the basement, become more than a meme, become a movie star.
If you haven't been keeping up with the extremely exciting lawsuit news, basically the guy who wrote the original Friday the 13th, Victor Miller, is taking advantage of a law that says a screenwriter can take back the rights to a script they wrote 35 years after it was written. The current owner and creator of Friday the 13th, Cunningham, obviously doesn't want to give over the rights to this thing that's made him like hundreds of millions of dollars over the years, so of course there's a lawsuit. This has been going on for a few years now, which is crazy, and Victor Miller actually won the lawsuit the first time around, but of course Cunningham appealed, and then it's been in this sort of deadlock ever since. And the even weirder thing is that this lawsuit is pretty bizarre to begin with, because even if Victor Miller wins and he gets back the rights to Friday the 13th's original script, he only gets it back in the US. So I think Warner Brothers is the company that owns it internationally. So if he ever wants to get anything made, he'll have to work with Warner Brothers, and by extension, I think Cunningham, because he's in a partnership with them still that's been going on forever. So it really just comes down to money, I would guess. Every time I make this video, there's arguments in my comment section about who's in the right, and really, I read through it all and I see some pretty good arguments both ways. But personally, as someone who creates stuff, who's made a short film or two in the past, if I wrote a script to something for someone else who paid me to do it, and then they only paid me for that one script, but then took all of the ideas and names and locations I came up with and ran with it for like decades and never gave me a single cent of the profits, I'd be pretty pissed. And yeah, after 35 years, I think I would take advantage of this law. And at this point, it would be a lot easier to side with Cunningham if there wasn't already a ton of precedent set for this law specifically. Victor Miller taking advantage of this law basically let a lot of other screenwriters know that it even existed. So that's why we saw Clive Barker take back the rights to Hellraiser after a bunch of terrible DVD sequels, and now we're getting an HBO Max show with Hellraiser from David Gordon Green. I'm happy about that. We also saw Wes Craven's estate take back the rights to A Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream, and now we're getting a brand new Scream movie basically directly because of that law. So you can see that it is a good thing, even if it gets a little gray in the middle. I also think it's kind of scummy that Cunningham, after he lost, appealed on like the tiniest technicality ever, and he's still holding up this franchise instead of going and settling with Miller so we can get a brand new movie. I get that they both have kids and that's who they each want the money to go to, but slashers are really hot right now. We've got 3 Halloween movies in the pipe, we've got Scream 5, we've got Spiral from the Book of Saw, we've got a brand new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and arguably the most fun and just exciting and gory and awesome slasher series of them all, after Halloween of course, is being held up over dumb. And to make matters worse, Cunningham is really leaning into his new reputation because he started a new lawsuit with Warner Brothers, who, by the way, as I already mentioned, would be the distributor of a new Friday the 13th movie. So instead of focusing on the entire franchise, this time he's just looking at Friday the 13th, 2009. And if you want to know way more about this than I can even understand, follow Larry Zerner on Twitter. He's an actor from a Friday the 13th movie who became an entertainment lawyer, and he's basically everyone's source for breaking down all of these lawsuits that that are happening. Going back to that lawsuit, basically what Cunningham is trying to say is that Warner Brothers hid a bunch of money from him by using trickery to not tell him exactly how much they were making on Friday the 13th. He's saying that they basically used package deals, which Zerner says is a tactic that a lot of distributors use to hide how much money they were making not only on the movie but also on merchandise from him, and now that he knows how much they made, he wants some of that sweet cash. Zerner says the real reason to do this is that so if and when a new Friday the 13th does happen, he can go to Warner Brothers and say, hey, you guys undervalued this property the last time we made a movie. Here's the real value we just agreed upon in the last lawsuit I put against you guys. Give me that money. And really, if he wasn't this money-hungry guy holding up the entire franchise that everyone really wants to come back, I'd probably be on his side with this one. I just gotta be honest. And if he wasn't already holding up the entire franchise that people really want to come back, I'd honestly probably be on his side on this one. I'm just saying, I gotta be honest here. But just as it's been since the very beginning when he made the original Friday the 13th just to cash in on Halloween's success, he just wants money, doesn't care about the franchise, and that really sucks. Think about it for a second. Warner Brothers has some great properties under their umbrella right now. They've got the 2 It movies, they've got the Conjuring universe. It's rumored that whatever is happening with Nightmare on Elm Street will probably happen with them. They own HBO and HBO Max, which means they also have the rights to Hellraiser right now. So they can kind of do a pretty cool connected universe with all of these different slashers that are being put back into the limelight. They can't do that with Friday the 13th right now because of this lawsuit. And the most frustratingly angering thing about all of this is that when you look at Michael, Jason, and Freddy, Jason is the easiest one to bring back. You could put Derek Mears, you could put Kane Hodder, you could put Tyler Mane, any of those guys under that mask, and they'll look like Jason because they've got a ton of makeup on them and you never really see his face. I know he's shown it a few times throughout the series, but for the most part, you don't need to see his zombie face, and if you do, it's gonna be a prosthetic mask over their head anyway. And on top of that, Jason, again, is a zombie. He can keep coming back. You can put him in any time period. You can just make him come back however, whenever you want, as long as it's at Camp Crystal Lake. And it would just be so damn simple, but the only thing stopping it is a fucking lawsuit between 2 old dudes who just want money. I just got the Scream Factory collection and it is awesome. It's got great art and it comes with every single Friday the 13th movie. It was well worth $100 because even though after watching through them all, I understand that not all of them are great and there's definitely more bad ones than good ones, they all have this weird charm to them. Even Jason X, I get the urge to watch these movies around April or May every year just because they're fun. They're really cool, they're cheap, they're easy to make, and again, they're fun. So it'd be awesome to have more Friday the 13th movies coming down the line. And arguably the biggest casualty in all of this is Gun Media's multiplayer game, which yeah, I covered that game as it was coming out. It was really buggy. It constantly had new bugs introduced. This game didn't work for months on the Xbox One when it released, but it became one of the biggest games out there because it just had that janky charm of the Friday the 13th franchise. We'll put up with some bullshit if we get a new movie where Jason is killing people, and the same goes for a game. And just to know that the only reason we don't have Jason X and the Grendel map, which were in the game and people were playing them because they were able to unlock them somehow, is just because of this fucking lawsuit, it just blows. It really fucking sucks because this doesn't happen with other franchises out there. The lawsuit is stopping Warner Brothers from buying the rights. It's stopping Universal from buying the rights and making a new movie with Blumhouse. Not that I'd want that, it's just something they could do. It sucks that Disney is able to throw around money and get every character they've ever owned back, but Friday the 13th just has to sit on the sidelines while there's a slasher renaissance, you know? It's just it puts a bad taste in my mouth, and it just shows that the people who own the franchise right now truly don't give a fuck about it. And that's the biggest thing that's bothering me. All I can say is hopefully when the lawsuit ends, we get a new movie sooner rather than later. And I'm gonna throw my person that I want to direct it in the ring and say Adam Green. I know he was attached to this weird found footage 3D version of Friday the 13th, and he eventually left that project, and then he went on to make the Hatchet movies, which are essentially Friday the 13th movies, and I love all of them. So I'd really like to see him be able to bring back this franchise after it's been gone for so long. And I'm definitely not ignoring Never Hike in the Snow or Never Hike Alone because I like both of those movies a lot. I know I'm biased because Vinny was in my Halloween short film, but at the end of the day, All I want is just a theatrical movie that I can watch on the big screen knowing that it's an official Friday the 13th project. The fan films are great and I have no problem with them, but at the end of the day, they're always going to be there even if there's a new movie on the big screen, and right now, that's what I want to see. Anyway guys, that's all I have for you today on Friday the 13th. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and if you haven't yet, I'd really appreciate a subscription and if you rang the notification bell. As always, my name is Jimmy Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Shape on.